Alright, chat. How are you guys doing? Let me double check that the volume is fine. Sounds good. Let's just get started right away. So today we're going to start with a WoW 2K VOD review. Playing Roadhog. I think I'm losing because of what position. I get countered a lot as Roadhog. Which yes, it's definitely a big problem with Roadhog. There are several heroes that counter you. Especially right now. So you have to play around a lot of cooldowns, around a lot of positions, make sure you have cover, etc, etc, etc. Let's see how you do. You're up here. Alright. So we're starting with Rothog. We have Orisa, you, 2 longish damage DPS, and we got some decent healing. Things I'm going to watch for, you need to take off angles, like Rothog is not that good on main, you need to take off angles and draw the enemy's attention and maybe get picks if you get really good, or really lucky. Alternatively, if they have like a very good dive tank, like Monkey, Diva, or Ball, right? You don't have to use your hook, just when they use their cooldowns to engage on your team, you can counteract by just shooting at them really good, because you do a lot of damage up close. Don't just stand still, don't just stand still. Okay, here we go. We're kind of moving the page out again. I don't love this position. If I were you, I would have taken this way out of spawn in case if they're holding here or if there's someone here, you can try to get the hook and maybe the kill. So I would have gone this way out of spawn, just in the chance that someone is here, so you can get a free hook. And then you can regroup with your team if you really want to. Good hook on the monkey. Again, you don't really need the hooks as much as you think. But that was actually a pretty good hook. Yeah, like I was gonna say. The problem with hooking from the high ground is that he actually hasn't used any cooldowns, so he can just get out if your team doesn't burst him down. And he was obviously not going to use a cooldown to, well, drop right away, but the fact that you use your hook means that you have no way of actually making him stay in the fight, right? He's gonna drop, pop the bubble, and get the fuck out. Instead, if you wait on your hook, right, the only way he's got to block it is the bubble. When he drops, you can get one shot off and do a lot of damage because he's already in melee. And then when he turns to escape, you can hook him, keep him in the fight, and delete them. That's how you usually secure the kills on dive tanks. You usually see them until they cannot get out, so they cannot get out. In this case, like the hook is good, the hook itself is good, and you do drag him to the left, which makes it harder for him to, get out, and you do a lot of damage. The thing is that because he's just, able to leap away, we are not gonna kill him. Which is very unfortunate because we came very close to killing him. He only had 39 HP left. So, just rather than hooking him off the high ground, which a monkey here is not a problem. Like, if the monkey stays here forever, we are okay with that. Like, he's not a problem on the high ground. He's a problem when he drops, but if he drops, then you can go right up into his face. If you are on his face, then dropping the bubble doesn't help him because, the bubble is around him. You can get one shot, then go chain that into a hook, then shoot him again and he's dead. As Roto, and since we are so early, we're only 1 minute in, you can do a lot of damage up close to like pretty much any tank, but especially dive tanks. Because they are so big and their head hitbox is so big. If you take a Roadhog. Oh, by the way, these are really good close killers, isn't it? If we go like against Monkey, what you do is basically, this is your guarantee right click hook or left click hook. What I'm telling you, like, that's not good against dive tanks, because the main thing with dive tanks is that they've got an ability to get out, especially in a map like Dorado, where they can set up on the high ground very easily, and they don't have to actually use their cooldowns to engage. If you're playing the Monkey on Dorado, right, you can just set up on the high ground and drop, and then you have the leap. So what you're doing is basically what you did, at least it's usually this. And you do like that much damage maybe before he gets out. However, if you do it like this, right? If you wait for the monkey to drop near your team, then shoot into hook, into shoot, you can do like a lot of damage, and if you melee, it's good enough to kill. So the general idea is that if you are impatient with your hook, and especially if you hook him off the high ground, right? He's basically just getting what he wants anyway. He's just going to engage without using a cooldown. He was going to drop from the high ground like... If I'm playing Monkey, and I'm holding this high ground, I'm not going to jump in. Like, the enemy's team is going over below me. I'm just gonna drop. Just drop, and yeah, there's no value hooking him down. So instead, wait for him to drop, to be in front of you. Just wait for the monkey to actually drop, and when he's in front of you, you can take one shot and chain that shot into a hook, so he cannot run away, because if you get pressured him... Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Don't hook him off the high ground. Wait for him to drop, do damage, and when he turns to leave, you just hook him and secure the kill. That's your big advantage. Using your hook early is basically just letting them get away, because they can just jump out. However, if you drop, do damage to him, and then chain that into a hook, then you can guarantee the kill. So what I'm saying is, hold on, let's go back to your replay view. I believe it's this one.
Traveling to Dorado, ready for battle.
I think my hook is pretty decent. I use it to liberate and greedy. Yeah, like if you don't have to use it, don't. Like hooking this monkey, again, the hook itself is really good. You manage to hook someone kind of far away in a difficult angle. The hook itself is really good, but you don't really need to hook this monkey. Like this monkey, like I said earlier, if he just stays on the high ground forever, he's no threat to us. He's just going to eventually have to drop. When he drops, like he's going to be here just by dropping, because he's going to drop into your team. So you can left click, then melee if you want to. You don't melee the monkey, but no, it's fine. It's kind of like a free damage bit. And imagine if you had the hook now, you just hook them. Look at his health, right? You get the one shot anyway. You get one free shot anyway because he's going to drop onto your team, and then you just hook him. Like right now, if you could hook him, he would be a dead monkey, and he's jumping out, but you don't have the hook to prevent it. So that's the big thing with dive tanks. Don't hook them closer to you, because you're basically using an 8-second cooldown, and they have like shorter. They have shorter cooldowns. They have like 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. They just get away. Like they get their movement cooldowns back before you get your hook back. This applies for Diva to rise boosters. Yeah, hooking Diva out of boosters is actually even easier, because at least Monkey can drop the bubble if he needs to get out, and if the bubble is still here, it's harder to drop Monkey if he's in the air. So you should like get one shot, then chain that into a hook, another shot immediately with the Monkey. But with Diva doesn't have the bubble, so when she tries to get the boosters out, you can still hook her closer. Still, like, really good. Like, it wasn't a counter type. It wasn't like you just hook him and did a lot of damage. We don't secure the kill, which is unfortunate, but the monkey basically was setting up to drop on our backline, and you stopped that, which is solid. Moving your team here is fine. Putting pressure on the Sigma is decent. Don't just throw your hook out randomly. But we did get 2 kills, so should be a 1 fight. Good hook. I like that you are looking away from where they are to put them further into your team. That's good mechanics. That's far you've done pretty well. Like, not ideal, but pretty well. And we just rolled the first point. That should be... Don't be impatient with your hook. Don't be patient. Like, this hook is just an impatient hook. You try to predict where she's going to go and throw the hook, when she's barely not really moving, because she knows that you're there. She's like dodging in and out of cover. So it's just an impatience hook. Wait, like if you had your hook now, she would be absolutely dead, because now she's out in the open and you can just hook her. You can probably still kill the Ash. Maybe if she gets bubbled, it's okay. Don't chase. Like, your team is moving the payload. You can hold this corner. Don't chase too far. You're chasing too far. great hook. She just kill her. Like, I know this is probably like you're very used to doing this, but it makes it a little bit harder to get your shot off. Right? Like hooking them to the side and shooting their head makes it a little bit harder to get the headshot off consistently. So if you got a free kill like that, just go for the free kill. They didn't have a bubble either, they had already used it, so you just got a free kill. Not a big deal, that's just a little nitpicky. What are you doing? Remember what I said? Your team's pushing the payload? You're kind of literally by yourself. And yeah, you like I said earlier, you can take angles with Roadhog, it's actually really good. But wait for your team to actually be in a position to pressure them as well. Because right now, no matter like, even if you hook someone, they got team support, right? They got bubbles, they can pressure you out. McCree's there as well to shoot at you. The Zarya's here to pressure you. Like, you hook the Zarya, but this is not going to be a kill. No matter how hard you try. And you end up wasting this engagement. that is actually very low. Same with Sombra. Yeah, it's basically wait for your team to actually be there to make this a fight. Because look at this. They can actually kill you very easily right now. Like, you go back in? Don't go back in. Just wait for your team. Like, of course they're gonna see you. You're Roadhog. You're a very bulky boy. You get pulled, you get damaged, you have your own healing. Even if you survive, which you may not because they are hard committing onto you. Use your ultimate, but you're just gonna die, yeah. So, like, the fact that the enemy team could invest 1, 2, 3 people's worth of resources into you just means you die. So don't do that. Like, the idea of the flank is a good idea, but the execution was poor because your team hadn't gone in yet. If you had waited until now, like, look what your team is now. If we had waited until now, where the Roisa was looking forward, the Zarya was looking forward, right? Now you could go aggressive, maybe get a hook. And if you hook someone, you are basically going to win that 1v1. And if they invest most people's worth of resources into you, then you just have an advantage. Because if they actually send 3 people to fight you, then you have 5 people here fighting 3 people. Makes a defense, using flanks left side and enemy second point. It's very successful strat because they actually PC engage. Yeah. So long as your team is pushing mid, absolutely. Just wait for your team to be pushing mid because then they are just like, oh fuck. They are on Anubis, it's like your team's pushing the gate. If you wait until their team is busy, you just go for the flank, you get a free hook. They are just suddenly like, fuck, do we turn to look at the Roadhog? Do we keep looking forward? Some people, like, you're creating a lot of chaos. Some people will turn to look at you because it's suddenly a flanking Roadhog. And if too many people turn to look at you, then your team can just push forward and kill them. Whereas if no one turns to look at you, then you just get free value and literally free kills. So, Roadhog is a very good character when it comes to creating chaos with off angles. But you just have to time it better with your team. Your gameplay hasn't been bad, like your hooks have been solid. You know the mechanics of the hook, you burn them to the side, you aim for the head. That's pretty good. I think it's just, at least in the 3 minutes we've watched, just mostly an issue of timing when you're going in. Like, good hook, you pull them to the side, you hit the head. Again, the hook mechanics are pretty solid. Like, you just killed that Orisa. And you're with your team, which means that you are doing fine. Even though you don't, like, your Roadhog is also pretty solid when you're physically with your team. You don't have to be on an off angle. Being with your team is a constant threat to the enemy. That if at any point they are out in the open or they overextend, you can just hook them and kill them. Roadhog is a very good punish as well. So if someone is in a bad position, you hook them, you kill them. If someone tries to go aggressive past their shield, you hook them, you kill them. Even if you don't kill them, at the very least, they have to invest a lot of resources into saving that person. So it's like Roadhog is really good at punishing bad positions, and at creating chaos by, you know, distracting people from the off angle and maybe getting kills. So long as you're doing it with your team, not physically, but at the same time. Unlucky hook, like the idea is solid. Zarya has no bubble. You missed the hook, which is unfortunate. You are a little bit impatient with your hooks, I'll say that. You throw them basically, I don't want to say basically on cooldown, but if you had waited just a little bit, you could have guaranteed this hook on the Zarya. Like, and by a little bit, I mean like 1 second. Right? You go for the Zarya about now, but the Zarya is jumping constantly. Like, should I get a bit closer? No. It's not about getting closer. It's about the fact that this Zarya is being dumped and jumping. So if you wait, like if you see this habit in people and they jump a lot, they are very predictable when they jump. Like they cannot stop their movement when they jump. So if you had just waited a little bit for the Zarya to be in the air, now would be a perfect time to hook her instead. So if you see this bad habit, like I said, Roadhog is very good at punishing people. If you see someone with the bad habit of just jumping all over the place, when they jump, it's a free hook. It's a lot easier to hit because the jump is very predictable. It's got a set arc. They cannot crouch. They cannot hide. Right? It's just a very, very predictable movement. Then you just kind of defend out the open. Like again, playing with cover support. Like here, pushing the Zarya is fine. You try to go for the Zarya. Be careful when you're untied, but it's fine. Like your whole team is here. So you try to go for the hook on the Zarya. At this point, you miss the hook. Go back to your team because you're purple. You are purple. You are in the open. They have 2 long range hit scan, and you are out in the open against both of these long range hit scan. They can punish you. You're a very big target. So I'm okay with you going aggressive on the Zarya. But then you just go back to the payload, go back to cover. You can even push forward to get to cover, right? Because if you're below them, then it's very hard for them to hit you. Yeah. Don't just keep walking forwards, is my point. Like, going aggressive with the Zarya, trying to hook the Zarya when she has used bubble is fine. But, like, look up. You got the McCree, you got the Ashe. Well, the Ashe dropped, but still, you're in the open against them. And you end up having to run and take cover. And use your cooldown as well. At least you don't die though, which is solid. That's fine, just jump off the map. Just jump off the map, just jump off the map. Just jump off, jump off. Jump off, jump off, jump off, jump off, jump off. Just jump off, jump off. Just jump off. You staggered yourself so badly. Don't do this. If the team fight is lost, just jump off the map. You gave them 600 HP and you gave them... Like, how long is it going to take you to respawn compared to your team? 37. Seven seconds of free time. From 37 to 30. That was 7 seconds we could have saved. And it may not look like a lot, but if we give them 7 seconds every fight, it adds up really quickly. It doesn't have to be you, by the way. If a single person staggers every fight for 7 seconds, then if we have 10 fights, we lose 70 seconds. We lose 1 minute and 10 seconds over the course of the map. Which is it's a lot for a map that takes like half of this attack. If out of 11 minutes, 10 fights, we waste 10% on staggers, that's just really, really bad. It's literally 10%, like it's 1 more fight we could have had. Maybe 2 even. I will say, I've noticed this. Most of the time, you end up with your team when you are respawning or coming back together. When you have time to set up by yourself, you go on the off angles. You can still go on the off angles when you're respawning. Like, you can still go this way and take the off angle. Like I said, Roadhog is actually pretty good on the off angle. Just wait for your team to actually engage, because what you're doing is, this did not work once. So I'm never going to do it again. It did not work because you just went in by yourself. The idea was very good. Just go take an off angle because they actually only have one shield as well. It's not like if they had a Sigma, maybe Sigma can contest you, and because Sigma can just put a shield in your face, then Sigma can still damage the team and prevent you from getting value. The Sigma is actually really good at countering Rothog. Because of that, Sigma is really good at holding any angle, really. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, I don't get value if there's a Sigma, but they're playing Zarya or Risa, which is really bad. Remember what I said about people being easier to hook while they're in the air? Look at that! It's actually so easy to hook someone when they're up in the air. It's like a free value. And by the way, you can just burst through the bubble. You don't have to wait until the bubble runs out, you can just burst through it. But in this case, either option is fine. If it were like, let's just say that instead of the Orisa, if you hook like an Ashe or a Genji, anyone with movement, you have to burst through the bubble because otherwise they get away. So Orisa doesn't have any movement, so it's kind of okay. But if you hook anyone with any movement abilities, you just burst through the bubble with 2 shots, and well, your team is probably also going to be with you. Again, remember what I said about impatience? You just heard the resing noise and turn around and just go for the hook immediately. You're kind of looking for the Mercy actually. You're camping the body because Mercy, and then you just, rather than aiming the hook, you just throw it out in desperation. You have a 2-second window before the rest goes through. We do kill the Mercy, the Risa gets rest. This is okay. Again though, ideally you would have just hit the hook on the Mercy. Just be more patient. Don't throw your hook out as soon as you see someone. You can give yourself like that 2-second window with the rest to interrupt it. This is still a dead Orisa, by the way. Like this Orisa cannot survive. Should not survive at least. You hook her to make sure she doesn't kill your Hanzo and it's okay. Now kill the Zarya, at this range left click. Don't stand in the open, right? You were really good here, I don't know why you went out in the open. Like you actually had a really good position when you came back. Like this is solid. If you're playing here, you can put a lot of pressure on them. But getting closer just means that you are exposing yourself to this silent. And you just die to the McCree 1, 2, free tapping you. And you had your healing available as well. So, 2 big mistakes. You played in the open, again, like, especially if they have like long range heroes, don't play in the open, and you did not use your heal. Like you could have healed at any point during this entire thing. Look at your health. Just heal as early as possible so you can have it again during the fight. Like at this point, just heal, just heal, just heal. The thing is that if you are relying on your supports to heal you during the fight, then your supports will not be healing the rest of your team who also need healing, right? You need healing, but you've got your own healing. Whereas no one else in the team has their own healing. So don't make your supports spend time healing you if you can avoid it. Like this 214 health you're missing can be solved by just pressing E once. And that means your supports can focus on healing the rest of your team. Right? Because otherwise what happens is your supports end up trying to heal you and you are just not using your healing for some reason. Like look at your health, just use your healing. Use your healing. And because Anna is kinda trying to heal you, your Pharah dies. And you end up like not using your healing. Also don't jump. Jumping makes you predictable, I just explained this. Use your healing. Looks like we win the fight anyway. Yeah, we win the fight, we contest the point. Unlucky you got bad spawn, but it's okay. So the big things as far is this is not a big thing. This is just a heal whenever possible. And it's only happened once, so I'm not going to put it down as a big thing. Unless you keep doing it during this game, which I'm going to be on the watch for. The big things are timing on the off angles. Let me write that so it looks like actual English. Timing on the off angles and cover. Cover is very important, especially when they got long range heroes that can punish you. Don't let them shoot at you for free if you can avoid it.
Let the dragon consume you.
I used to dive off angles much more in the past and died so many times. First thing first, Roto is not a dive hero. You don't dive off angles, you pressure or you hold off angles. This is me trying to stay with my team. That's okay, but the big reason, like, you saw what happened. Like, you didn't die because you were taking an off angle. You died because you went way too early when your team was still here. So taking the off angle is not bad. And it's actually pretty good with Rothog. But look at their team, right? It's like, we don't really have to protect our team from, like, again, Rothog is really good at denying dive tanks. If you're playing with your team and we're all together. Against good dives, like, they'll find isolated targets that they can kill. And they will just kill the isolated target. So against really good dives, you cannot do anything with Rothog because you have no movement. And you have no actual defensive abilities. So you can only deny dives on the people that are with you, right? Like, you can deny dives on these people, but if your Hanzo's playing on the high ground, the Hanzo is dead to the dive. If the Pharah is flying in the air, she's dead to like a Diva Tracer, Diva Genji, Diva Echo even. The Echo is really good against Pharah. So Rotok is really good against denying dives when they're coming to your team. If they don't have any dive heroes, or if they are not engaging on your team but on your isolated heroes, then Rothog is not really a good play with your team character. He's not good at Brawl, right? He's really not good at Brawl. Like Zarya and Diva both have abilities that enable the other tank to get value. Like Zarya has Bubbles, Diva has Defense Matrix. They both have very high damage output at close range. Rothog does too, don't get me wrong. His DPS at close range is pretty solid. The big thing with Rothog is that you cannot do anything to keep, let's say, a Reinhardt alive. If the enemy team has a McCree, and you're playing Ryan Rothog, this McCree can just fuck up your Reinhardt with a stun right click. And there's nothing you can do about it. If they have a Reaper, the Reaper can just go at your Reinhardt and met your Reinhardt, and there's basically nothing you can do about it. Rothog is not that good when playing like back together with your team because he actually has no defensive abilities for your team. Right? Again, Diva and Zarya are the best examples of off tanks that are actually really good at peeling because they have defensive abilities. So they can play with the team and do really well. Whereas with Rothog, you're basically kind of not a proper solo character, and you can still deny dives on the people that you're with because you have a hook. But that's all you can do. You can deny dives. You can't really protect them from like a proper brawl, from like a lot of spam damage. Like if they have Pharah Junkrat, or let's say Pharah Hanzo shooting at your team from very far away, you being with your team doesn't get any value. Instead, what you do is you go for the off angle and try to pressure the Hanzo. So you get value and protect your team by just removing something from the equation. In this case, the Hanzo, if the Hanzo is being a problem. Or Ash, or whatever hero, right? So the best way of actually helping your team in the situations, not in every situation, like again, if your team is playing packed together and the enemy has like a monkey, like on the very first point, then you can fuck up this monkey when he engages on the core of your team and you delete him. If the monkey is smart, he will go for the isolated targets instead, rather than, the people you are protecting. But that's the gist of it. It's that Rothog really does not have any defensive abilities. It's kind of like Wrecking Ball, right? Wrecking Ball doesn't really have any defensive abilities, but with Wrecking Ball, you can at least boop people around the map very, very often. You have two different cooldowns, the roll and the pile drive. And this can disrupt the enemy. It's not defense, it's disrupt, but it's still pretty good. And your disruption is the threat of the hook. So if you are on this off angle, they have to be careful not to get hooked. Which doesn't mean you have to just go for the hook right away. It means that so long as you have the hook, you can be here and they have to be careful because you could at any point to hook someone and kill them. Right? That's the threat of the hook, not even the hook itself. Just the fact that you are like here while your team is pushing forward means that at least someone is going to have to be careful on watching this angle, because otherwise you just walk up, hook someone, kill them, and then they just win the fight. You kill someone. You got first pick. And I believe first pick fight win rate is like 70% plus. So, you know. I think I just walk forward and people walk back. That's called Frodo having a really big threat on the hook. Like, again, it's not even your damage. It's not the fact that you're like a big presence. It's just that you can hook someone and kill them. So just you being here means that they have to be very careful. You being here means that, yeah, they have to be careful. But if your whole team is here, they aren't careful of this angle anyway. So you're not really disrupting anything. But you being here means that people will try to hide. They will try to hide where you cannot get them with the hooks, right? Again, so long as you don't just go in by yourself against 3 people while your team is regrouping. So that's why playing Roadhog on off angles is really good. It's just the threat of hooking someone and killing them. It's just a threat. It's not even like the actual fact of hooking someone and killing them. And often you should take off angles and provide another angle of threat. That happens with some off tanks. Not all of them, but a lot of off tanks are really good at adding another angle of pressure. Like particularly Roadhog and Sigma are really good at taking and holding angles. D.Va doesn't really have to do that as much, because D.Va can just go aggressive with the dive or play with the brawl. D.Va can do everything, right? With D.Va you can contest an angle, but you cannot hold the angle, right? If there's a D.Va here, the enemy team is not like, oh fuck, there's a D.Va there. The enemy team is not going to care as much about this D.Va, because this D.Va doesn't have the threat that the hook has. Yeah, D.Va can be annoying, she can like maybe try to find an engagement, but the problem with D.Va is that to find the engagement she has to use her pushes to get in. So it's like, D.Va being here is not really as threatening. The enemy team can ignore the D.Va if they want. Whereas if you have a Roadhog here, they cannot ignore the Roadhog. If you have a Sigma here, they cannot ignore the Sigma. Sigma has a lot of long range damage. So even if he's not actually like able to kill anyone, he can do a lot of pressure. He can get cooldowns out. He can get cleanup kills, right? If we get any damage, then Sigma can shoot at them and kill them from the off angle. Even a Zarya can be decent on the off angle, because Zarya can go aggressive and kill someone very easily if they are low. It's not that good, and the best use of Zarya on an off angle is when you have a Rhine v Rhine fight, right? And the Rhines are fighting. Then your Zarya can go on the off angle, a slight off angle to pressure the Rhine on the shield. So this is where Zarya's off angle potential comes in best. On small off angles to get around shields, not big off angles. Or just holding main. Zarya is also really good at holding main because she's got a lot of damage. But the off angles is not that good for D.Va. It's not that good for Zarya. If you're here with a Zarya, they have to be careful of when the Zarya goes in, but they don't really have to mind the Zarya so long as she stays here. Whereas with the Roadhog, even if you're here, they have to do something. Even if just playing safe from you, Roadhog and Sigma can be that threat of, well, fuck, someone has to do something about this. Or at the very least, we cannot just do nothing. Whereas with Zarya and D.Va, you don't have that big of a threat. Zarya and D.Va are usually just better on main, and taking small off angles or taking the high ground or whatever else. So that's the big advantage you get with Roadhog, just the threat of, hello, I'm here, at any point I could hook someone and kill them. Or actually hooking someone and killing them. Because they cannot ignore you. That's actually why Sigma Roadhog is so good on some maps, by the way. good. That's actually pretty solid. You hook the Zarya, you use your ultimate. Full hook is not that big of a value ultimate, so using them just to confirm the kill of the Zarya is pretty solid. Great hook, by the way. This is okay. Good hook again. Like, your hooks are pretty solid. Sometimes you are being impatient with them and just throwing them out there, right? And being like, there's someone, I gotta get them. Don't be patient. Just have confidence that you'll hit them when the time comes. And wait for the right window. Yeah, your hooks are actually like, your hook mechanic is pretty good. Like, you can, when you take the time to aim them, you are hitting them, right? You are predicting where the enemy is going to go, and you are getting really good hooks. Sometimes, again, you just get impatient and you go, motherfuck, there's someone, I need to hook, throw the hook out. But that doesn't get hooks. But most of the time, when you have the time to think about it, you are actually getting kills. And by the way, remember what I said about Sigma being the best Roto counter? That's because of that off-angle idea where, let's come to this example again. If we have a Roadhog here, Roadhog's damage is not actually that big, right? At this distance, he doesn't do a lot of damage. The threat of, well, I can hook someone and kill them. That's the threat you provide. However, a Sigma from all the way back here can just be like, oh, shield, lol, damage, lol. Sigma is just really good at contesting angles. So if a Sigma is here and you're threading the off angle, you can just be like, well, I'm just going to block you, and then I can either do damage, which you cannot do to me, right? Because at this range, Sigma can do damage, but you cannot really do damage with a Sigma. So Sigma is just like, I'm going to do damage, and if you try to hook me, I'm going to block it, and you are kind of fucked. So a single Sigma can deny the whole value of taking the flank. The big difference is that if they do have a Sigma, they have the weakness up close. Sigma is not that good up close. Ivan, Zarya, and Dana just had counter me, sometimes too with Discord. Yeah, Ana is a really good Roto counter if you take the big fights, like if you are in the actual fight, like in the middle of the fight, you are exposed, you are like brawling, very close to the enemy, then a decent Ana will just leap you. You are a free target, will just nade you, and you're basically just dead. Also, this is why it's important to play with cover, right? Even during fights, if you take cover... sorry, I lost myself for a second. Even during fights, like over here, right? This fight. If you had been taking cover, then Diana would have never seen you. So you would have been safe from the nade and the sleep. The McCree would never have seen you. So you would have been safe from the flash and the shots. Right? Taking cover is very important. And it's one of the ways where you can minimize the value the enemy gets on you. Because Roadhog is just a very easy target to shoot at. He's a big ball in the middle of the field. So if you're exposed, you are just free shots. Free sleeps, free nades. As for the Zarya bubbles, by the way, Zarya saving your bubble to counter your hook is actually okay. That's not a problem. Because then Zarya doesn't have the bubble. Remember what I said about the heroes that have defensive abilities, like Zarya's bubble? What you're doing is, with the threat of your hook, you are removing Zarya's ability to use her defensive bubble. And instead, you can just be like, oh hey, I'm going to go forward, and I'm going to threaten the hook, but Zarya is just going to look at me and not be able to do anything because she doesn't have really good range either. And she can be like, fuck, that's a Roadhog, I need to save my bubble. But she's never gonna use it in fear that, you hook someone. So it's like, you don't have to use your hook, as long as you threaten your hook. That means Zarya, well, they don't have Zarya anymore, but Zarya cannot use the bubble. And Zarya not being able to use the bubble is really bad for Zarya. And then again, if you are here, and the Zarya is here, and at any point she uses the bubble, just be patient with your hook. If she uses the bubble, then you can go for the hook. You have 8-second window to go for the hook. it's a pretty big window. And if your team just pressures, right? If the enemy team and your team are pressuring each other, at some point Zarya will use the friendly bubble, and you can go aggressive with the hook. The one person that counters Sigma. The one person that counters Roadhog better than Sigma is actually D.Va. Not at this rank, but at higher ranks, at like high diamond, let's just say, mid to high diamond, D.Vas are actually good enough to react and defense matrix your hooks. So you can hook someone out of position, but you cannot do any damage, and the threat of the kill is reduced a lot. Because D.Va, even if you get the hook, a good D.Va will just be able to block the damage. So D.Vas can be a really, really big threat. That's one of the reasons why Roadhog is not played that much anymore. At least not at the highest levels. There are still some maps where Roadhog can be really good, because if you take the off angle and you have like a Sigma, and you have like an Echo, and you have like a Ash, right? D.Va cannot contest everyone. So if the D.Va is trying to contest someone, right? Let's just say Roadhog, Ash, Echo, Sigma, Sen, which is a very common comp. Who is D.Va, this single D.Va, going to contest? If the D.Va tries to contest you because you got the hook, Ash is getting free shots, Echo is getting free damage, Sigma and Sen are getting free damage, right? This is why Roadhog is actually viable in some cases still, because you can just have Roadhog on an angle, Sigma on an angle, or yeah, Sigma Sen usually, Ash or Echo or Hanzo or whoever in one angle, another long range DPS on another angle, let's just say Hanzo, and D.Va can only contest one, and let's just say they have another tank, they can only contest one as well. So you have the threat of the hook, and if the D.Va just goes for someone else, you have a free hook. That's why Roadhog is still playable, but if you have like a very brawly comp, then you don't have a threat, because you know that D.Va is just going to eat the people, the damage you do when you hook someone. Okay, all of the Roadhog theory out of the way, let's just come back to your gameplay. I completely forgot where we were. Alright, Sigma, that's what I was looking at. That's a decent barrage, and you kill it before you even using the hook, which is solid. Like, your aim is solid. It's better than low plat, for sure. Your aim is better than low plat, I'll say that. In fact, your mechanics in general are probably better than low plat. At least on the Roadhog. I think it's just that sometimes you're just going for things and they're not working out. And by the way, oh my god, this is such a long game. Sometimes you're going for things and you're not getting value. Like off angles where you suicide, or hooks on people that don't really that are not really gonna get hooked because they're moving a lot, instead of waiting 1 second for them to jump or stop moving. Okay, taking this is okay. Like again, the big problem with this is that you are very exposed. You are in the open. Right? There is no cover. You could be doing the same thing from here. Your hook has the range. Like if your idea here is I'm going to hook someone on the card, then you can do it from a little bit further back. Yeah, like that. And that's the idea. You just kind of miss the hook. And you can see how they actually did a lot of damage to you because you were in the open. Like, they have a lot of people who can do damage to you. And they actually have a Roadhog who could hook you if you're in the open. And that's very, very dangerous. Don't hook the shield. I see hook, so I go in cover. Gotcha. Yeah, there you go. That's good. You should be in cover anyway, right? It's not only the hog. It's like they have a lot of people who can put pressure on you, and you have to use both of your, like you end up using your healing. You don't die, but you gave them like a lot of full charge. Don't fall. Don't worry about the shield. Shield break, like, Roto's shield break is not bad. He's got decent shield break, right? But you are not going to lose this shield. Like with McCree or Reese, like even Orisa Sigma is like a very close shield war. But the big difference is that Orisa shield just comes back with full health. Whereas Sigma needs time, so this is just a one shield war. Sigma can do a lot more damage than Orisa, hold the angle a lot better. But the shield war is one. You don't need to shoot at the shield. You missed the hook, again you were impatient. Decent rush from your Mercy. And by the way, look at this, right? This is actually pretty solid. It's not ideal, but it's pretty solid. Like, you're kinda holding this angle, right? Like, kind of like this, kind of like this. Your Risa's got this angle. Your Hanzo's got this angle. Your McCree is coming back from death. Or, no, he's just backing up. But we are holding 3 different angles, and Sigma cannot shield all of them. This is what I mean when I said that you don't have to worry about shield break, just threaten to kill someone instead. Because this shield can only block one of these 3 directions. And they don't really have anything to block the damage from all the other directions. Like, that's why your hands are gonna for kill. So don't worry so much about the shield, just kill people. And again, you're very impatient with that hook. You're like, a Sigma standing... Let's look at this in slow motion. Just so you get what I mean. A Sigma standing out in the open. I need to press shift, I need to press shift, I need to press shift. I just press shift. Immediately, as soon as I grab it. You don't even aim it, you just throw it out. Just be patient. Like, your hook mechanics are solid when you're actually taking the time to aim your hooks. But half of the time you're just throwing them out randomly. Decent hook, and this Sigma should be dead. Yep, there we go. Now they have no shield, so we can play slow. Unlucky that your hands are out. Why are you this close? Why are you this close? Like, you are in the open. You are close to a Roadhog Moira. You should be like all the way back here. Playing safe. Again, the biggest threat you have is the hook. It's not your close range damage. You do decent close range damage, by the way. It's not bad, but it's just like... Right? My crystal's over there. I don't know why my crystal's over there. You try to run away because now you cannot heal. And now you're better. Your Mercy gets good because she's in the open. This whole thing was just don't go in the open. Just stay with the cover, play safe, because you're really big and you're really easy to hit. Like, even now you're in the open. Rather than staying by the payload and playing with cover, you just go back in the open. And you don't die because you're Roadhog, but you could be punished very hard. You missed the hook again, which is unfortunate. Like, your home guys were pretty solid in the first one. On this defense, I just see you throwing hooks all over the place. Another very impatient hook, you just went out there and threw it. You're basically at this point just going like, lol, can I hook, lol? And you get too close, again they have even more people that can punish you now. Like, everyone but Moira can punish you right now. For a bad position or not taking cover, and they do. Of course they do, and you just died. How do you not die? I'm sorry, what? How are you not killed here? I think even you gave up. Even you were just standing there like, oh well. Like, you just gave up. You were just like, oh well, I'm dead. Rodo had to reload. Sigma and Moira were just like, oh, there's more people over there. Okay. Just, okay. You were just standing there like, okay, well, I guess I'm dead. And then you also got the emo, which is pretty solid. And then we were like, wait, fuck. That's pretty funny. Just go away. One more thing. In the Roadhog 1v1, this Roadhog 1v1, whoever hooks first actually loses most of the time. In this case, of course not, because you have like the whole enemy team here and you were already low. But this hook actually means that you now cannot kill this Roadhog. The idea is usually wait for the Roadhog to heal, then you hook him. So what you should do here is heal first, Just shoot the Roadhog normally, and when he goes for the heal, you throw the hook, you interrupt the heal, and you just punish him and kill him. And yeah, you just hook first and you were just killed. Not only by the Roadhog, but yeah. I have fire again. This is okay. Just be careful when you peek. This is okay. Don't hit your hook on the thing again. You're just being so impatient. Like on the offense, your hooks are actually pretty good most of the time. You had some hooks that you missed because you were being impatient. On the defense, you're missing every single one of them because you're impatient. Yeah, just should have had your hook now. It would be just a free kill. It would literally just be a free kill. Yeah, we win the fight. You should watch the off angle just in case. Oh, there is actually someone. Oh, it's McCree. He's probably going for a high noon play. But yeah, you're not gonna see him, but just every now and then watch this angle just in case, or this angle. You're not gonna see him in this case, but just watch it every now and then, just in case. What the fuck were those two? Oh, and pay. What? Ooh. Okay, well that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate, in fact. So we know there's somebody behind, we go punish the mate. This mate should be a free kill. Don't be impatient with your hooks. This mate's dead anyway. Yeah, the mate is dead indeed. The mate is dead indeed. You hide from the high noon, which is, the right... It's not... The high noon is not gone yet. Don't push forward just yet, because that's what's gonna happen. It's not gone yet. Like, the kill is made, you see the high noon, you hide from the high noon, and then you go like, it's gone, right? Let's just go. Don't do that. Just hide. Stay hidden. Again, cover. Very important. If we lose this fight because you died to the high noon, I'm going to be very upset. And it kinda looks like we do. Oh, don't do that. Don't ever do that. The worst part is that you saw the high noon, you hid from the high noon, and you went back out like, yes, hello. Let me get you a kill. I see that your high noon is very bad. Let me just get you a free kill. Great hook without mercy. Great job. Oh my god, there's still so much to do, to go through. Good hook, really good hook in fact. Why did you pop your ultimate? Bad ult. Don't use your ultimate randomly. Again, impatient with the hook. Then you come too close. Remember what I said about coming too close and being too punished very easily? You can never kill Sigma. Sigma has a shield, Sigma has a rock, Sigma has the grasp. Unless Sigma is out of every cooldown, like he has no rock, he has no grasp, you will not be able to kill Sigma. And McCree is also there. You do get saved. And you go out of the emo, even though you got saved. You're basically suiciding. Yep. Stay in the emo. Like, the fact that you got saved by the emo, and then you went out of the emo is incredible. You can be here aggressive here, like, this is okay. Just don't go out of the emo while you still have the emo. I know the McCree is low, but... You're waiting for your Meki. By the way, I said Murky and not Mercy because that's actually the name, so you're waiting for your Murky. Decent hook attempt. That's good, that's solid. Like I said, it's going to be difficult to kill Sigma if he's got both of his cooldowns, but in this case, he just used Kinetic Grasp. So long as you don't need to heal, this should be a good kill. Good hook, good kill. Good kill. Sigma is actually, like, if you manage to hook the Sigma, then you just win that. The big thing is that if Sigma is at range, he can just shield your hook. That's a big deal. But if you manage to hook him, then you win that 1v1. Okay, yeah, that's just flexing. You don't even shoot the Mercy, you just whip them in the face with a hook. And you win this fight. Good job. Don't go this aggressive though. If you get hooking with... That's fair. That's fair, you know what? That's fair. You had not hit the Mercy yet, so you did not know that the Mercy was accurate. You did not know that the Mercy was actually pretty low. So, it is definitely the right call, like I said earlier. As long as you hit the hook, it's fine. I was just making fun of the fact that you killed her with the hook. Oh yeah, this is just too aggressive. You're dead, hello. Yep. Like I said, you just went too aggressive. Remember what I said about playing with your team? Look what your team is. Look where your team is, and look where you are. You are never gonna kill anyone here because they have healing, peel, even a Roadhog, and you don't manage to get away, which just means you die. And you use your ultimate as well. I don't have eyes on my back. Just don't go for this. Like, I can tell you, like, hold on. I can tell you here that your team is not with you. Your team is not, like, look at your team, right? Like, here, you win the fight, good job. You know your Orisa's coming back, she died. Your team was playing around here, and then you just overextend. Like, your team is holding this high ground. This is where your team is right now. This is where your Orisa has been holding. You just go by yourself. And Hanzo actually tries to save you with the dragons. He just doesn't manage to. Like, look at that. He's just like, oh fuck, a rod got hook. Fuck, shoot the dragons! Shoot the dragons! Rescue dragons! Too late. Bab tries to save you too, by the way. Everyone in your team actually did try to save you, they were just far away. If you feel bad, then stop being by yourself. Just go with your team. And again, I don't mean go physically with your team. Just take your fights in a place where your team can see as well, so they get value. Good hook. Then you get counter hook, which is very unfortunate. Yeah, you're just dead. Unfortunate. At this point, just come back with Wrecking Ball because you have to touch the payload. You don't go Wrecking Ball. The payload! Okay, unfortunate. Yeah, if it's this situation, just go Wrecking Ball. The ball is difficult to kill. He's, you know, good, very fast, can get you the payload. Can't even go get a health pack. Okay. We have a little bit more to go, so let's watch it at double speed. And I can spot what I did with the hug. That's the thing, like, everyone assumes, well, I can kill someone, and someone else can touch the payload. If everyone makes that assumption, and they all go, well, I can kill someone, but someone else can touch the payload, no one's gonna touch the payload. It's usually up to the tanks to be like, well, fuck. The DPS are not gonna touch the payload, and the supports are gonna die if they touch the payload, unless they go like Lucio Moira. So it's like, you just have to accept that you have to sacrifice yourself, because you're a tank player, and be like, fuck it, I'll touch the payload, it's fine team, I got this. Good kill from your Hanzo. Decent attempt at the Mei. Again, you were very impatient. Because May still had the block, of course. Good hook, good hook. You have to be a little careful because again, you're kind of playing like by yourself. But at the very least, what I will say is that at least your team can see you in this case, right? You are still playing by yourself and out in the open, which is not good. But it's not that insane.
60 seconds remaining.
You do get killed for it though. Because again, you don't get killed because you're playing by yourself, you get killed because you're playing in the open. Like, let me just look at this Ana. Look at that nade! It's so easy to hit! You're such a big target. Of course you're gonna die.
60 seconds remaining. This will help.
What's a good position? Window is solid. Playing here is okay, not ideal. But if you have to like get away really quickly, this is fine. Playing close to this corner, if no one else is holding, is okay as well. It's not ideal because once the payload gets close, you have to get out. Like if the payload is here and you're here, you're just fucked. But if the payload is here, you can play with this corner. So while the payload pushes up to like here, you can play here. When the payload is here, near Mega, yeah, that's also pretty solid. I'm just going point by point. So on this corner is good. When the payload is here, you have to rotate back. This is the ideal corner if you're holding main, which you shouldn't be the one holding main, but in this case you are kind of the one holding main. But this is okay to hold main. I'm just going through corner cover mostly. And yeah, like you said, this is really good. If your other tank is holding main, which if you have a Ryan or a Narisa holding main, then this is really good. You can hook someone into the high ground and kill them. You have cover, like a lot of cover, you can get back, you're pretty safe. The window is okay. It's not ideal because your silence are very limited. So the window is okay. And these two windows are pretty good. Like this one is a little bit too risky because you are very far away from your team. But with this one, you can get pretty good value and they are very close to the Mega. Which can help, but ideally you should not need healing anyway. The big problem with these two windows is that the enemy can actually get around you very easily. And they can actually come below you as well. So it's not ideal, but it's pretty solid. Especially like if your main tank is... If your Ryan is on this corner, you can play here or you can play here. And both are okay. Because it's an off angle. You can even come up here if you really want to. Like the big benefit of the window is that you can rotate very easily to the two other positions. So if the enemy is just looking at your Rhine and you are not getting value from here, because the big thing with this is that while the payload moves forward, they can dodge you by just being behind the payload or with the Rhine shield, right? This is not an off angle, it's just the same angle. That's the big thing with this. And if you come here, it's a little bit of an off angle, but it's a lot more dangerous because they can just speed on you and you cannot really get away. Especially if they do this. So it's not bad. I just think this is better. If you're going to hold this angle, you might as well hold this. But window is just really good because from window, you can go here or you can go here. If the enemy gets here, you can go here and get that pick of the backline. If the enemy goes here, you can come here and get the pick on the front line. Or the backline, or whatever. Good hook. Again, like the big thing is that that hook is fine. And I do want to say this again. Because they did use their movement cooldowns. Like, at this point, hooking the monkey, it's not going to be a free kill because they got a Diva. But the monkey doesn't have his movement. So hooking the monkey is fine. Because now when you hook him, you can guarantee that if they had no peel, you would hit the shots. Like, this hook is solid. And remember what I said about people being easier to hook in the air? There you go again. They are very predictable. So this hook is good because this monkey cannot escape now. Like, this monkey cannot escape from you now. Of course, the problem is that they have Diva. Diva is actually, like I said, decent Divas are really good at stopping you from doing damage. And this Diva was late, but even then, like, you cannot clean up the kill on the monkey and you're just gonna die to them probably. They at least get the payload. And you just die eventually.
10 seconds remaining.
So the big thing with that is that the hook on the monkey was good, but he had a diva. And that's why diva can be such a pain in the ass. Because you can just defense matrix your entire damage pretty easily. Done. Again, very impatient hook. Trying to contest the payload. Do we actually lose this fight? We shouldn't, right? We looks like maybe we may. Okay, maybe not. Okay, that's good. That's solid. Again, very impatient hook. Like on the very first attack, your hooks were really good. And ever since you've gotten very impatient with them. It's like you went, oh, I'm hitting all of the hooks, I'm just gonna throw them out. And I'm going to hook someone every time. No, just keep doing them the same way. You go out in the open, so you get slapped. But the run hits a big shatter, so that should be it. Good hook on the Mei. This should be it. Okay, good. 2, 3. There you go. Looks like you guys either go really, really fast or just don't come. Don't go in the open. They have a lot of ways to counter you in the open. Another hook on the monkey in the high ground. Don't do that. At least we're moving the payload, I'll say that. Don't try to hook the monkey on the high ground. Imagine if you had hook now. If you had hook now, this monkey would be dead. Probably not dead, he got bubbled, but he would be really bad. Or if you had hook now, this monkey would be dead. Oh, he got slapped, so you don't even need hook. Why did you hook before? Oh, you only had one shot. So I will say you do get a slight pass because you only had one shot. But shoot, hook, shoot. At least against dive tags, always. Not always, but most times. You're dead, you got untied. Again, playing the open gets you untied, getting untied gets you dead. Or gets you killed, rather. Good hook. I want to see that. I just bet you forward. Good kill them on the Zarya. Good hook on the monkey and we just kill him. Good job. And this time the monkey wasn't on the high ground, so he probably used sleep at some point. Great hook on the Moira. You actually win this. This is fine, you're kinda just contesting. There is still a McCree behind you. Don't tell me you forgot about the McCree behind you. You absolutely forgot about McCree behind you. This is fine. You go very low. Like, they could have killed you here pretty easily. Like, if the Ana slept you, or threw a nade at you, or just did anything at any point, you would have died. This Ana was just like left clicking on her team. But you could have died very easily here. Very easily. Very easily. The Ana never did anything. You could have died very easily because you were out. Like, I was kinda okay with you holding the off angle until we got the point. At this point though, like, there's no point on just staying here. And you end up using your ultimate and it gets you not a lot of value. Even this hook is not going to kill anyone, your team cannot see them. So even though you can do damage to this round, we are not gonna kill them. Ah, this is just a loss. Yeah, this is just a loss. Okay. Imagine if you had your ultimate for that, by the way, right? Rather than using it to try to get value on literally the entire team, 1v6. Imagine if you had it now to just chase everyone away. Like, imagine if you had it now, right? Like, it's not a great ultimate for damage. You saw how hooked, right? Yeah, your hook mechanics are pretty solid, but it's like. Where's the hook? Here it is, right? imagine if you had all, like, yeah, this is, like I said, your mechanics hooking people, putting them to the side, body blocking, getting shots. Your hook mechanics when you hit the hooks are solid. I don't think that needs work. You body block the Ryan, but he just gets nano. They have so many ultimates. That's sad. Imagine if you had your ultimate now, right? This Ryan would be fucked. Imagine if you had your ultimate now. This Ryan would be fucked. Your team would be a lot safer. So you did waste your ultimate there. Just because again, you were taking a 1v6 fight. Okay. So the big thing is still like the timing of your fights, which is just don't take 1v6 and use cover more. Because it will just help. People that are countering you, like Anna is a big one probably, because Nade and Sleeps are really good, easy columns to hit on you. But even also like Kree and Dash, they can do a lot of damage to you from range because you are not using cover. So again, timing and cover. Alright, let's take a 3-minute break, chat, and then I'll be right back.